So last week we started on the overview of corporate governance, talking about the definitions of governance. So in that we learned different perspectives, definitions on different perspectives: operational, relationship, stakeholder, financial, economics, and societal perspective. So each and every definition that we learned that the scope of corporate governance had been widened. Earlier, it was just the definitions were just the focus on shareholders and board of directors. Then it extended to shareholders, board of directors, and other contractual stakeholders. And then beyond that, when the focus was again extended to this entire society, where the what you call the company was identified as a social entity in which it is responsible to the local environment as well as to the international environment. So that's what the societal definition was about. So it has been, the definitions have been evolved from the very center of corporate governance. The center, which I meant to say, is the shareholder and the board of directors. From the center of corporate governance to a wider society, the definitions were widened. And once those definitions, each by each, now we learned the definitions from 5 aspects. Those 5 aspects discussed about 5 perspectives of corporate governance. So then overall, at the end, we were able to identify a overall definition for corporate governance. So it's simply meant to say it's exercise of power over a corporate entity. So exercise of power over an entity implies that it includes the entire society, including the center of corporate governance participants, such as shareholders, managers, board of directors, contractual stakeholders, and other stakeholders. And then we learned a local definition that was put forward by Senior Professor Disa Bandara, where that definition comprised of every perspective that we learned individually. So what the point on these different perspectives of definitions are, these are not mutually exclusive. You cannot isolate one by one. All is important. You have to use the definition depending on the circumstance. Depending on the situation, the definition can be suited. But overall, these are the definitions that we can derive. So based on these definitions, we learned about the corporate governance pillars, 4 pillars: accountability, transparency, fairness, and independence. So during the lecture, each pillar we discussed in detail. So we have to today start the lecture with this: the scope of corporate governance. So what do you mean by the scope? According to your understanding, what do you mean by the scope? Scope in the sense, the entities or the elements that is related to the corporate governance. අපිට මේ corporate governance කියන දේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අදාළ වෙන සියලුම ඒකකයන්, elements, units තමයි අපි scope එක කියලා කියන්නේ. භූමිකාව, the scope of corporate governance. So at the very outset, as you all have also learned, the scope of corporate governance was initially concentrated to these 3 particular units. wherein they say shareholders we have, board of directors we have, and the management we have. So all of these three parties, we can say these are central to corporate governance thinking, because you see, corporate governance, the practices were evolved due to the separation of ownership and power. So that separation of ownership and power is depicted by these three central bodies. So these three parties, we can simply say this is the central to corporate governance thinking. And if you look at most of the codes around the world, as well as in Sri Lanka, all the corporate governance codes are focused on these three central parties. These are the center of corporate governance thinking. So we can extend this further. Once we have the center of corporate governance, then there's another party that we have to discuss that we cannot omit, that is external auditors. What's the use of external auditors are? They are appointed to check the reports given by the board of directors. Now we learned according to the pillars of corporate governance, there was one pillar that was accountability. So to prove the accountability, the meaning of accountability rather was we have to report the shareholders, board of directors have to report the shareholders on their results to convince them, to inform them whether they have achieved the set goals. That was accountability. They were accountable to their actions. So one way of proving those accountability is through financial statements, and we have to use the auditors. Auditors independently evaluate those statements and see whether the goals has been met. So that was appointed to check the reports given by board of directors. Why corporate governance scope is related to external auditors is, why we talk about external auditors in terms of corporate governance means, there had been, if you look at most of the collapses, the one we discussed in the classroom, Enroll and WorldCom, if you look at most of these collapses, there had been falls in the auditors. There had been falls in the auditors. Even though there have been independent auditors, auditors have been failed. Because of auditing failures, there had been, it has resulted in many corporate collapses. So because of that reason, the more importance is given to external auditors as well. So when we talk about the scope, we consider about external auditors also. Then we can again expand our scope, forget, when we talk about governance. So what do you think the role of stock market corporate governance? But this answer CSE listing rules? Yes, that's a good answer. Using the CSE listing rules, there's a way of controlling governance practices inside the companies, because these rules are fundamental to effective governance inside a company. If even in Sri Lanka, you will see Colombo Stock Exchange, Securities and Stock Exchange, they have some listing rules. Colombo Stock Exchange have listing rules. So these listing rules are very important. Otherwise, the companies does not have a a standard. They are not, they can do whatever they want. If they have a rule, then it is good to monitoring purpose. Some of you have mentioned, rather that those rules are very fundamental to effective governance practices. Stock market listing rules are fundamentals to effective governance practices. And then again, there is another party that we have to discuss, that is market intermediaries. Who are market intermediaries? Market intermediaries are, you have already learned, the banks, brokers, institutional investors. How do you think they are related to corporate governance? අපල කොහොමද හිතන්නේ එක corporate governance වලට කොහොමද මේගොල්ලෝ සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Institutional investors, brokers, banks. Any idea, any response? Parties who meet the deficiency parties and excessive parties act as the dealer between surplus party and deficit party. Yes, those are basically the role of intermediaries. But when it comes to corporate governance, why we talk about market intermediaries in terms of governance is, most of these market intermediaries have become shareholders in today's company. If you can see the top 20 shareholding lists, we have EPF funds, ETF funds, pension funds, different banks, they invest. Those are very large shareholders. We call as institutional shareholders. So they sometimes are very difficult to meet their objectives. Oh, and they are very influential. If you talk about institutional shareholders, they are very influential towards companies' activities. මේගොල්ලන්ට ලොකු බලයක් තියෙනවා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි organize. තනි individual shareholder කෙනෙක්ට වඩා group of shareholders ලා, when you talk about group of shareholders, they have more influence about the company's operations. Sometimes company doesn't even know who the shareholders are. සමහරකට හිතා ගන්න බෑ කම්පැනි කවුද shareholders තියෙන්නේ කියලා. EPF fund එකක් නමක් විතරයි තියෙන්නේ, අපි දන්නේ කවුද shareholders කියලා. So it has today, present day, the understanding the shareholder had been very complex. So that is, due to that reason, we have to concern about those parties as well when we talk about governance practices. So for example, I have already told you that the institutional investors are very large investors, EPF funds, ETF funds, pension funds, and they have a very high stake in companies. Company එක top 20 shareholding list එක ගත්තොත් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම institutional shareholders financial intermediaries ලා ඉන්නවා ඒක ඇතුලේ. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ stake එක වැඩි. top 20 කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ලොකු percentage එකක් public float එකෙන් ඒගොල්ලෝ අරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලොන් වගේ කෙනෙක්ව disappoint කරොත් එහෙම, if we disappoint those shareholders, they might exit from our shares, and that can make a big huge influence to companies operations, companies share prices. Institutional investors ලා වගේ ගොඩක් ලොකු shareholders ලා අපේ company එකේ ඉන්නවා නම් අපි ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ වමනාවල් ගැන හරි හොඳ අවබෝධයක් තියෙන්න ඕන. අනිත් එක තමයි for the practices, we have to have good practices. අපි ඒගොල්ලන් කිසියම් ආකාරයකින් disappoint කරොත් එහෙම ඒගොල්ලෝ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම company එකෙන් quit වෙනවා, exit වෙනවා. exit වුණොත් එහෙම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ influence එක වැඩි rather than an individual investor shareholder exiting the share. individual කෙනෙක් ගිහින් exit වෙනවට වඩා ඒ වගේ party එකක් exit වෙන එකේ influence එක වැඩි. So today's environment, the scope has widened not only to the shareholders but also to the financial intermediaries as well. So going further on the discussion of the scope, financial markets are the same. We have contractual shareholders, contractual stakeholders. Stakeholders means employees, suppliers, customers, etc. Contractual means say is who are directly related to companies' activities. So we have to concern about them as well, especially the employees, suppliers, customers, contractors, distributors, likewise different parties, a network where we have to concern because they are very much interested in company's activities. Relationship definition. In the relationship definition also we learned company should not only focus on its shareholders but also its contractual stakeholders as well, because we can't move forward if we disappoint our employees, if we disappoint our suppliers. And in the video also we learned last week that how Toyota company has served their suppliers, how it has been, how they are sharing their profit. It was a network. Even the employees are very happy about the companies, how they have been developed. So then you will get their full contribution towards the company. If you practice good practices for all these parties who are interested, then they will give the best for you. Giving you the best means it's very easy to run the business with good practices. Employees අපිට support එක දෙනවා නම්, suppliers support එක දෙනවා නම්, customer support එක දෙනවා නම්, how can a customer give you the support? How can a customer give the support to the company? company එකට customer කෙනෙක් විදියට ඔයාට මටත් පුළුවන් company එකට උදව් කරන්න. How? Any idea? How can the customers support the company? By giving feedback, positive, not only positive, any complaints, also feedback. By giving feedback to the company, whether we like the product, whether we have complaints on the product, and then we can adjust it. And you see there are different ethnic groups, different religions. So if the particular product is not good, not in par with my beliefs, if I do not expect that, if my religion is not expecting that product, I can tell the company, do these changes. So it's a good way of contributing to the company. So we have to have, today we are very concerned about these stakeholders as well, contractual stakeholders. So extending it to further, government and other corporate regulators. What is the use of government and other corporate regulators in terms of governance practices? Government give many legislations and they monitor activities of the companies. And they look after customers, they look after employees. There are certain acts. So they are party who actually monitor the company's activities, government. They have legislations, different sort of acts, compliance codes, different things to monitor the activities of the company. So if we disappoint the government, if we do something wrongful outside of the government laws, regulations, then the company would be punished. If you have bad drainage system, if you have bad waste disposal systems, then the government authorities can charge you on that. So you need to have good practices. So when we talk about corporate governance, we cannot forget government as a party. Government is an interested party where we have to concern about government as well and other corporate regulators. Who are the corporate regulators? Other corporate regulators? SEC, exactly. As some of you have said, SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, while Central Bank of Sri Lanka, those are regulators. What they do? They monitor. SEC monitor CSE, Colombo Stock Exchange. And Central Bank of Sri Lanka, they monitor finance companies. If they are doing anything bad, any wrongful act, they go and inform them. They take the corrective measures. Even in SEC, they always try to protect the interest of shareholders. They are not protecting shareholders, but they protect the interest of shareholders. They monitor the transactions. They do not allow insider trading. They do not allow frauds. Likewise, there is a mechanism. The mechanisms or other regulators are there to promote good practices. Central Bank of Sri Lanka, they have on-site visits, macro level visits, micro level visits, supervisions, sudden inspections. So what's the meaning of this? What's the use of all this? To monitor and control, to see whether the companies are doing good, whether they have good practices. Are they doing good to their owners? Have they been good to the customers and to other parties? Even in SEC, are there insider traders? Are there frauds? Are there transparency in the companies? They look after the company's best practices to monitor the companies. Then another party, societal influence and other stakeholders. So you see, earlier the discussion was initially concentrated on shareholders, board of directors and management. And then it is extended to the top part. These are the most influential part, the intermediaries, institutional investors, and again extended to contractual stakeholders. They are on the downstream part. After management, on the ground level scope is contractual stakeholders. And another party that we cannot forget is government. And again, societal influence. So you have learned, according to the societal definition, an corporation or company is a social entity where it's not a separate party, but it's inside the society. A company represents the society. So people expect companies to adopt a socially responsible attitude to their activities. Different, if since it's a social entity, people expect companies to adopt socially responsible attitudes. Have good drainage systems, be good to the customers, be good to the society, be good to the environment. Today, the influence of the society has been very vital. ඉස්සරට වඩා අද සොසයිටි එක කියන එක ලොකු ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් කරනවා කම්පැනි එක. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ කම්පැනි එකකින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපිට එම්ප්ලොයිමන්ට් ඔපචුනිටිස් දෙයි. මේ කම්පැනි එක මේ සොසයිටි එක ගැන බලයි. පරිසරය ගැන බලයි. They have expectations. They have expectations of doing CSR and environmental protections rather than polluting. Society expects the company to protect the environment. And also no employee exploitations. Employees that are හොඳට සලකන්න. Those are societal influence and society expectations. CSR, no employee exploitations, and no environmental pollutions, protecting the environment, sponsorships. So that is the expectations of the society. And media, not to forget, you know how influenced the media had been today. For each and every inch of the company, it would be reported to the media, newspapers and any media form, anyone, in terms of radio or television or newspapers, whatever you do, either good or bad, it would be reported. If it is good, really it would be reported. That's how the Sri Lanka nation is. But if you do something wrongful, then on the other minute it would be reported. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අද ලංකාවේ හැටියට කම්පැනි එකක් හොඳ දෙයක් කරොත් ඒක කොහෙන්වත් රිපෝට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. නරක දෙයක් කරොත් ඉක්මනට රිපෝට් වෙනවා. ඒක තමයි nature එක. So that's why media is also, we should not forget when we talk about good governance practices. They have a good eye on what the company is doing. So these are the basic scope of corporate governance. As you have already seen, the scope had been extended. Different parties have joined. මුලින්ම තිබ්බේ central parties ටික විතරයි, shareholder, board of director, management. And then it has vastly extended to a wider society. That's how the nature of corporate governance means. And of course, to this scope, this is not just a framework. The scope එක කොහොම මේ scope එක මෙතනින් නවතින්නේ. මේකට තව කාලයක් යද්දී එක එක parties එකතු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එකතු වෙනවා. That's why we say corporate governance is not a theory. It's a practice. It has been evolved from history to today. Are you all clear with this? Can I have a quick reaction? Raise your hand. Okay. So this is one of the very interesting point now we are going to talk about. I think we have already, a little bit we talked about this, but in detail now we'll talk. The difference between governance and management. What do you think? Is it same or is it different? Governance and management, දෙකෙන්ම කියන්නේ එකම දේද, දෙකෙන් කියන්නේ දෙවිදියක්? And what do you think is most important? Governance ද වටින්නේ, management ද වටින්නේ? Can I have your idea on this? Both are equally important. Exactly. But is there a difference? Is governance management? Governance is management. Is it? So I think this answer is correct. Corporate governance is broader than management, and management is an aspect of corporate governance. Aspect, we can say, rather than putting it as an aspect, if we have good corporate governance, then you will have management. This is totally different. Governance and management are totally different concepts. Management, there had been a lot of focus on management. There had been management schools, management gurus, management thinking. In the 20th century, there had been lots of talks about management. Management කියන එක තමයි අපි ගොඩක් focus එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ. But if you have learned, and if you really focus on the first few lectures that we did, and if you read about the corporate collapses, even though they have good management inside the company, there are lots of companies that have failed. What is the reason? The reason is not having a proper direction, not having good practices. So that feeling that there's a gap on that. There's something missing. That missing part is captured by governance. Missing part is captured by governance. So today, the way companies are governed has become more important than the way they are managed. Write down that point if you have a paper or anything. The way the companies are governed has become more important than the way they are managed. So I will write it in the chat. the way the companies are governed, so are you agree with this? Today we are not talking much about management. Management we can do if we have proper system, a proper guidance, if we have policies, procedures in place, if we have a better direction. So that's why we always concern about good practices. That's why all these codes are there. Management කියන එකට කෝඩ් එකක් නැහැ. මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි management එක කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙන්න මේවා fulfill කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා කොහෙවත් කියලා නැහැ. නමුත් good practices governance සම්බන්ධයෙන් codes තියෙනවා. Why? Today it has become more important. So we'll see the difference. So if we see, if you look at this is simply management. On the very outset, this is management. It's in a triangle. You see, a hierarchy. Management is about hierarchy. You have a CEO, most this person, or the managing director maybe. This is the CEO. And you have other senior management and down level management. So management is set as an hierarchy. It has a clear downward going authority, responsibility delegated downward. Now, if this is a CEO, he has delegated this authority and responsibility downward. And we have an upward going matching accountability expected upward in return. Now, CEO or the managing director, they can delegate downward your responsibility and authority. Authority to make decision, authority to run the plans. But in other words, in other turn, in return, you expect a matching accountability. If I delegate my work to you, you have to be accountable of what you do at the end. That's about management. It's a hierarchy, upward and downward moving hierarchy. Downward you have a delegation and upward you have an accountability. This is all about management. How do you manage your resources? Or basically, how do you run the business? How you do your planning, organizing, managing and controlling activities. But where do you think management is? That's the question. Where do you think the board is? Where is the board of directors? Any idea? So inside this triangle, you see hierarchy, and we have senior management, CEO, and in strategic management, you might have learned about we have line managers, staff managers. Line managers are who? Who are line managers? Anyone? Who are line managers? Who are line managers and who are staff managers? So I have zoomed this if you cannot see it. Downward delegation and upward accountability. So my question is, who are line managers and who are staff managers? Exactly. Line managers involved with the primary activities of the company, or rather they execute. They do all the production, marketing, planning. That's what they are doing, line managers. Staff managers? Staff managers help, or rather they advise. For example, we can say human resource management is a staff management. They help the line managers. So you see in this triangle, you have a hierarchy, and management is all about, planning, managing, organizing and controlling. So my question to you now is, where is board of directors? Where is board of directors? So if we specify, not part of management. Board of directors is not part of management. And you cannot see them in the hierarchy. Can you see them in the hierarchy? No. Top part, it would mostly be CEO, managing director. And under CEO, managing director, you can't see board of directors. Board of directors, la CEO they have to be somewhere else. So not in this hierarchy. And one of the qualities are, board of directors have equal responsibility. They have equal responsibility. But if you look at the management, do they have equal responsibility? Not really. Line manager's responsibility and staff manager's responsibility are not equal. They have different sets of responsibility. So we cannot say that they have different equal responsibility. And also similar duties and power. Many board of directors have similar duties and power. What are the duties per se? board of directors duty එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Similar duties. What is the basic duty of board of directors? Anyone? What is the basic duty of board of directors? දැනට ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන ඒවා අනුව ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා board of directors ගේ duty එක මොකක්ද? What is it? Supervision, overlook what the managers has done. Yes, the basic duty I would say is they have to understand the aspiration of the shareholders and convert it to business terms. You have to give the direction. That's the basic duty, and you have that power as well. So even if we have five different board of directors in the board, they have that same duty and responsibility. පස් දෙනාටම තියෙන එකම duty එක. අපිට aspiration එක තේරුම් අරගෙන ඒකට හොඳ direction එකක් ලබා දීම. But if we talk about management, they do not have the same duties and they do not have the power. Senior management එකට තියෙන power එකම junior management එකට නැහැ. Senior management එකට තියෙන duty ටිකට සමාන duties ටික junior management එකට නැහැ. So there are certain differences between management and board of directors. The basic difference are not part of management. They are not in a hierarchy. අපි board එකක් ගත්තොත් management එක මේ වගේ triangle එකකට අපිට දාන්න පුළුවන්. Top one, CEO, and under him in a hierarchy you can organize. But board of directors, you cannot board of directors, you cannot put them in a hierarchy. Equal responsibility. Equally they are responsible. And similar duties. I'm not talking about the subcommittees here. Subcommittees have different responsibilities and duties. I'm talking about directors, just the individual directors. If we take all of them into one table sitting, do they have different duties and responsibilities as a director, not as a committee member? Audit committee के director කෙනෙක් විදිහට, nomination committee के director කෙනෙක් විදිහට නැතුව, forgetting about the committees, just a director. You as a director, do you have different responsibilities? No. So then where do you think board of directors should place in this picture? මේ picture එක ඇතුලේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතන්නේ කොහේ මෙයා place වෙන්න ඕනේද? So in this picture, we can simply superimpose the board of directors. We say board of directors is directors are superimposed on the management structure. Superimposed. ඒගොල්ලන්ට උඩින් ඉන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට වඩා ඉහළින් ඉන්නේ. Superimposed. You see, you have the triangle, and the top of the triangle you have the board of directors. So one thing again I want you all to notice is, can you see two types of directors in this circle? මේ අඳලා තියෙන circle එක ඇතුලේ directors ලා වර්ග දෙකක් ඉන්නවා. Can you identify those two directors? There are two directors. Who are those? Well, I am getting different answers. Well, I think this answer is correct. Only directors, and who are directors plus management. That's a good observation. That's one of answer that I expected. Now you see on this triangle that which I showed you, on this particular triangle, it is the management. This triangle is about the management. And we on the board of directors are superimposed. So you see, there are particular 3 different management who are also inside the board, and there are other set of directors who are not inside this triangle. So there are 2 different boards. One is we can say as non-executive directors. Who are non-executive directors? Those are outside the triangle. These ones are non-executive directors. And we have executive directors. Executive directors and non-executive directors. So what is meant by non-executive directors? Non-executive directors are not involved in company operations. Non-executive directors are not involved in company operations. They are outsiders who have been invited to sit on the board. Non-executive directors are directors who are not involved in company activities, but rather they are outsiders who have been invited to the board. And they are also called as independent. They are independent. ඒගොල්ලෝ company activities වලට directly connect වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ එළිය ඉන්න වෙන professionals. සමහරක් විට වෙන company එකක director board එකේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. We have to talk in detail about non-executive and executive in due course. We are talking, but at this level, keep in mind they are outside directors who are not involved in company activities. They are outside professionals. Executive directors are directors who hold managerial positions in addition to the board responsibilities. ඒගොල්ලෝ managerial position වලත් ඉන්න අය. They hold a managerial position. As you can see, these directors hold a managerial position in addition to the responsibilities of the board. For example, we can say Chief Financial Officer, CFO. The CFO has a managerial position of having duties and responsibilities in the finance department. And also he has responsibilities as a board member. Board member කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඉන්නත් ඕනේ එයා managerial යා අදාළ function එකේ head කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඉන්නත් ඕනේ. So you see those who are on this triangle inside this circle have dual responsibilities. These people have dual responsibilities. What are the dual responsibilities? මේගොල්ලෝ dual responsibility එකක් තියෙනවා. Now I already told. Those are dual responsibilities. What are the dual responsibility of these directors? Executive directors. Managing and governing. Management and act as a board member. Yes, supervision and managing. Rather than managing, I would say controlling. Supervision and controlling. Supervision means you have to, you are, or I would rather say you are wearing two hats. There is a one hat of supervision, another hat of controlling. So when you sit on the board, you have to put down the hat of controlling. අපි තොප්පි දෙකක් දාන් ඉන්නේ එකම මිනිස්සයා. supervision තොප්පියක් තියෙනවා, controlling තොප්පියක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපි board meeting එකකට ගියාම අපි controlling කියන එක අහක දානවා. We have to put down the supervision. අපිට බෑ board එකට ගිහිල්ලා මගේ ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකේ වැඩ ටික විතරක් ඉස්සරහට කරන්න බෑ. මගේ ෆන්ක්ෂන් එක ගැන විතරක් කතා කරලා ඩිසිෂන්ස් ගන්න බෑ. මට අදාළ ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකට අදාළ ඩිරෙක්ෂන් එක විතරක් දාන්න බෑ. I have to be unbiased, and that is on the supervision part. But as the CFO, I have a controlling part as well to manage my particular function. Supervision and execution, or supervision and controlling. Or rather simply direction and controlling. Duality of the board. Board has a dual role. One part is direction, another part is control. I hope you understand. So in the chat there is another question again, but are all non-executives independent? Well, not. I told you I would talk about non-executive directors in detail, but since the question is asking, now all of these are independent directors. We know that. All of these are independent directors. Independent directors can also have two types. There are two types. One is, sorry, rather say we'll put it like this. All of these directors are non-executive directors. All these directors, non-executive. All these directors, executive. So all the non-executive directors, two parts, two types. Non-executive, independent, non-executive, connected. මේ ඔක්කොම මේ outside කට්ටිය non-executive කට්ටිය. මේගොල්ලෝ executive. So non-executives ලා අපිට කොටස් දෙකකට බෙදන්න පුළුවන්. Independent non-executive and connected non-executive. Who are independent means they are the people who independently supervise the company. Objective decisions. එයාලා කිසිම biasness එකක් නැහැ. company activities වලට කොහොමත්ම ඒගොල්ලෝ ලං වෙලා නැහැ. function එකක් බාරව ඉන්නේ නැහැ. ස්වාධීනයි. board meeting එකට මම එළියේ ඉඳන් ඇවිල්ලා වාඩි වෙලා මම මගේ view එක දෙන්නේ. I am giving my perspective. I am giving my expertise. Independently, objectively, I am making the decisions. I am a non-executive but independent. I am not biased. Non-executive but connected means they are those directors are not involved with the company's operations. Non-executives, non-executive නම් company operations වලට link වෙලා නැහැ. But they can have a close relationship maybe with the uh, owner of the company. They can be family friends or any past employee or any supplier, a friend, a family member, non-executive, but can be connected. So they cannot have independent decisions. It's a question whether they can make independent decisions. They are related, connected. කවුලේ නෑදෑයෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. යාළුවෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් retire වෙච්ච employee කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් supplier කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලන්ට function එකක් බාරව නැහැ. Executives ලා නෙමෙයි, non-executive, but not independent. They are connected. So their decision making independence is questionable. But still we can have them in our board without giving them a function to get their expertise. මේගොල්ලන්වත් සමහරක් වෙලාවට companies වල when you do the assignment, I will brief it on the coming weeks. When you do the assignment, you will see connected independent, connected non-executives. They are there to share their experience, to share their know-how, expertise. ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවලදී අපිට ඉන්නවා connected non-executives ලා ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ independent decision making වලට වඩා ඒගොල්ලෝව ගන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝගේ තියෙන දැනුමට, expertise එකට, ඒගොල්ලෝගේ perspective එක ගන්න. Then we'll move on to the next slide. So in summary, management runs the business. The board ensures that the business is well run and running in the right direction. So the people who are in this hierarchy runs the business. They runs the business. They do all the planning, organizing, managing and controlling everything they do. And what the board do is they give the required supervision. They give the direction to run the business. This is the direction. Get all your resources and do the business. Run the activities. That's what the management is doing. So governance is part of management is part of governance. Governance කියන එක ඇතුළේ තමයි management කියන එක තියෙන්නේ. Governance කියන්නේ broader concept එකක්. Governance වලින් කරන්නේ giving the proper direction and control for the management to do their activities, to run the business. So is everyone clear on that? The difference between. So with that, we'll move on to a very important area, performance and conformance aspect of governance. So without going to this straight away, going to these three names, performance and conformance, මේ නම් දෙක ගැන අපි කතා කරන්න කලින්, we'll see, look into this quadrant. It's a matrix. And after understanding this quadrant and matrix, we will move on to these two words. මේ වචන දෙක කතා කරන්න කලින් මේ graph එක, මේ figure එක අපි මුලින්ම තේරුම් අරන් ඉමු. What this means. And then we'll discuss about these two words. It says the basic board processes. You know, corporate governance, there was a definition of operation. Corporate governance is operational. It's a process. Input, process, output. You have some inputs and you do some direction and control and you have an output. So on that definition, it is identified board has a process of activities. A process of activities. So these are activities or duties done by the board of directors. These are the basic activities, duties of the board of directors. And it's a process. Process කියන්නේ මේ activity එකෙන් activity එකකට link. It is linked. You cannot eliminate one activity. It's a process. It's a kriyadamaya. These are the basic roles of an board of director. Roles of board of directors. So you see, it's a 2 by 2 matrix. So if you look at the left hand side of this, we have on the left axis we have two parts, outward looking and inward looking. So what this means to say is the board of directors has to be outward looking and board of directors has to be inward looking. What do you mean by outward looking? අපි outward looking කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? When it comes to board of directors has to be outward looking. Board of directors has to be inward looking. What's the meaning of that? When we talk about the role of board of directors, it is said board has to be outward looking and inward looking. Exactly. Outward looking means concern about external parties, external environment, that is outside of your company. Company again, earlier. Company is inside. Outside. Outside means outside of the company. Your competitors, your market position, your broader environment, political and social context, like external stakeholders, external environment, outward, එළිය දකින්න. ඇතුළාන්තයට වඩා එළියෙන් වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? Outward looking. That is, be concerned about the external environment. Then inward looking means, what is inward looking? Looking inside the company, organization and its components. Board of director කෙනෙක්ට හැම වෙලේම එළියේ පරිසරය ගැන විතරක් කන්සර්න් වෙලා මදි. ඇතුළේ company එක ඇතුළ ගැනත් අපි හිතන්න ඕනේ. ඇතුළේ departments, components, organization, its customers, its employees. You have to think inside the company, inward looking. That's what those two axes means. Internally, look internally. You have to be externally concerned and you have to be internally concerned. Then on this axis we have again two parts, that is future focused and past and present focused. Board of directors has to be future focused. What is meant by that? They should be able to see what would happen to the company in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. Future focus. Your decisions has to be concentrated on future. අනාගත කාලයක් ඉස්සරහට දකින්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Have to be concerned about the future direction. At the end of the day, why they are called directors? Because they have to have that direction. අපි directors ලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? මේගොල්ලෝ direction එක දෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Direction එක දෙන්න නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම future focus වෙන්න. Then past and present focus. Past means now I am looking outside the company, I am looking inside the company and very future focused. But what about the past results? You have to be concerned about that. What have we achieved? Are they in line? Are they in line with the budgets? Are they in line with the plans that we have? That is past. You have to be concerned about the immediate past and the present as well. Present. This is what we have achieved. And today, is it in line? So likewise, immediate past and today you have to be very concerned about. So based on these aspects, there are 4 basic activities or roles that we can derive. Board has to be outward looking, inward looking, future focus, past and present focus. Then according to that, in a 2 by 2 matrix, we can put the board roles as this. See the first quadrant. Board has to be outward looking and future focused. What is meant by that? You have to see the outside world and you have to be having a future focus as well. That is the first role, strategy formulation. Strategy formulation. You have to have good strategies to achieve your objectives and goals. You know, what the board is doing is, board have to understand the aspiration of your owners. Owners age මොකද්ද බලාපොරොත්තුව කියන එක අපි understand කරගන්න. And then we are converting it to business terms. Business terms in the sense, we are operationalizing those. We are planning activities to achieve those aspirations. So how to plan is through the strategies. අපිට එක strategies තියෙන්න ඕන. අපිට goals, objectives තියෙන්න ඕන. The first thing is that strategy formulation. So you have to have you cannot do it sitting inside the company. Just by looking at the company reports, you cannot do that. You have to be concerned about the outside world as well. How the competitors are, how the suppliers are, how the the markets are, financial markets are. You have to be very outward looking. That's why in strategic management, you learn about all these, analysis, forces, 5 forces, PESTEL analysis, PESTEL for the local environment, global environment, a SWOT, everything. Those are for strategy formulation. Then you can have strategies. Strategies are future focus. And then once the strategies are made, the other thing is policy making. The other second quadrant. Now the strategies are there. So you have to make your policies and procedures. That is, see, inward looking and future focus. Why inward looking? Why inward looking? Policies have to be inward looking. What is that? Why is that? Why you say policies has to be inward looking? Anyone? Exactly. Policies are shaped with internal factors. Now you make all the strategies to match with the external environment and we are okay with our plans. But to operationalize that, we have to use the internal environment. Strategies ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ internal parties. Internally we have the resources, we have the employees. So we have to make the policies to operationalize these strategies. We have to make them operationalize by looking at the inside of the company. Company එකට match වෙන විදිහට මේවා අපි operationalize කරගන්න ඕනේ. Policies on, suppliers policies, supplying policies, marketing policies, financing policies to match with the strategies that we have made. However, it has to be future focused. Why? We are going to achieve the strategy set for the future. And we are making the policies to match to my company. So that is basically the second role of the board of directors. Second role. So this is the third one. Are you clear about first and the second role? Yes. The third role is C, supervising executive activities. Supervising executive activities. That is inward looking. Why? You are supervising the company's activities. And it has past and present focused. Why? You are supervising the activities that have already done or already doing at the moment. Past and present focus. I have set my strategies, all the policies are set, and that is being communicated to the executives. PA policies procedures hadala board එක management එකට දෙනවා. The management, what the management do is they run the business. And once they run the business, it has to be supervised. Control කරන්න ඕනේ. Direction and control. Board of directors la කරන්නේ ඒකනේ. So direction part is strategy and policy making. See, it's now simple to understand. Board corporate governance is all about direction and control. So you see on the left side, right hand side, this part is direction. No? Strategy is sadhanawa, policy is sadhanawa. Now this part you will understand is about controlling. Within control කරනවා. You know, duality of the board, dual role of the board. Board එකේ roles දෙකක් තියෙනවා. Direction and control. So controlling, supervising executive activities. Have they met the plans? Are they following the plans? Are they following the policies? Have they achieved the set goals? Have they achieved the objectives, policies, procedures? Are they in line with what we have set? Supervising executive activities. Managers la achieve කරන තියෙන ටික අපි අර හදපු strategies, policies වලට අනුව in line. Have they achieved? Are they following? Is what they have to find. Have they achieved means looking at the past results. Past results බලලා ඒක ලබාගෙන තියෙනවද? Have they achieved? Maybe you can look into your financial statements. And on the present focus, are they following? Are they following the procedures what we have set? Past and present focus. Have they achieved? Are they following? Then last role is accountability. Lastly, we have accountability. Accountability to who? To shareholders. See, outward looking, past and present focus. Why outward looking? Shareholders are outside. Stakeholders are outside. You are accountable to everyone. Board of directors are accountable to shareholders as well as to the, you have to be accountable of your actions. Stakeholders, pressure groups, government එක ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඇයි මේක කරේ? මොකද්ද මේකට හේතුව? How to be accountable. Basic accountability is for the shareholders. Accountability means assuring shareholder the set goals. You have to assure the shareholder the set goals. Or rather we can say reporting shareholders on their stewardship. We know directors are stewards. Why stewards? Shareholders have appointed the director to work on behalf of them. ඒගොල්ලෝ වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරන්නයි ඩිරෙක්ටර්ව දාලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒක stewardship එකක්. ඒ stewardship එක අපි report කරන්න ඕනේ shareholder. You have to report the shareholder on their stewardship, on the achievement of the set goals. That is simply accountability. Accountability. Are you clear with this quadrant, with this matrix? If there is a question, what are the basic board processes? Or what are the basic board roles? Then you have to explain this quadrant. They have to be outward looking, inward looking, future focused and past present focused. Within that, they have specific activities: strategy formulation, policy making, accountability, supervision. So you know what each of the quadrant means. So one of the very interesting thing is, it is said that now all of these roles and responsibilities, these now we understand 4 roles now. These are every one of the board member is equally responsible for all these roles. අපි හැමෝම